Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning into 15 Minutes of Faye. It is March 17th. That is historically a day in which we vote. And that is something that historically I did today and normally do. I believe very deeply in local elections. I know am very anti all of it. And I don't, honestly, I don't believe voting is the thing that's going to save us. I have no reason to believe voting is the thing that's going to save us. And there are some cool progressive candidates this year. We'll see who they are, if they win when they get there. But I was really excited that I got to vote for Kat Abagonzale, which is cool to feel connected to my local community and using just like my little thing. Anyone whose name is a beloved animal that controls my very life and being, that's wonderful, and that's what we want and love and adore to see. When we look out the window, we're like kitty cat, meow, and that's a good thing when that occurs. My cats will probably interrupt, and if they don't, I'll feel bad. It's like I'm gaslighting you into having that I have cats. I don't. I do. I have two, and I love them, and I've talked about them already. One of them is drinking water right now. She's got her whole neck extended over the entire water thing. Yesterday I was playing Dungeons and Dragons, and while playing Dungeons and Dragons, I have a table of dear friends, all of which are transgender, and one of them keeps bringing up like, a brick, like scared, and so I made them into a brick in their story, and I killed all their friends and they were alone in a void, and I was literally like, you are a brick and everyone you love is dead. Which is the most cutting and funny thing I think I've ever said in the entirety of my life. Beautiful, wonderful, my life. It is not the most cutting thing I've done and said in my life, but it is in Dungeons and Dragons. Do you think that when Dungeons and Dragons was invented, these straight boys, I don't know if they were straight, I mean, questionable straightness. If you heard that sound, that was the sound of my cat going hog wild. Oreo was jumping around, bouncing. Classic. I am back on my education stuff. I have a master's in higher education. I've talked about it a little bit, but I used to think that that was something I hated, or that was a mistake that I made. But I really do like working with students. It is super developmentally important of a time. And I think about how valuable it is to be able to tell somebody that, one, that not everybody has it figured out, and that the expectation that you have your life figured out in college is maybe exploitative. Maybe it's based on the idea that you're supposed to be something, you're supposed to know what you're supposed to be when you're young and pursue it. And no one knows what that is. And it's also really nice to tell them that you can grow from your previous war crimes against frogs. That you can sort of like Avatar, the movie Avatar, not the really awesome series Avatar, but the movie Avatar, cultural relevance, 0, financial relevance, ka-ching! Also, why do we talk about finances in movies? I don't care how much something costs to make. I've never once been like, yeah, and the thing about that movie is it only cost $300 million. That could feed a lot of people. I don't want to know that. I don't want to know that something costs millions of dollars while people are going hungry. Come on, that's how the hot dog is made. But also I think it's this movie makes this money. This is well, what is the cultural value of something, right? What does it exist? What is its cultural context? We've devoted, I feel like this is part of the invisibility of white culture and the idea of what is normal, which is this is white hegemonic imperialist culture. It's not actually the normalcy of a world. But the idea that profit is the end all goal, because it makes it so simple, right? If that's all we're working towards is this thing everybody can see, this financial incentive and goal. But it takes away the joy of the abstract. Why you do something for the act of creation, what it is to do and give to people for the sake of giving, right? When money has allowed itself to become its own congruent sense of values, and I think that's so wrong because it isn't a set of values. It allows people to, it allows everyone to put myself included, like, oh, if you're doing it in pursuit of money, you can justify it because you need to live, and like, the ways we sacrifice ourselves and our values, and the ways that we have to in order to live, it does add up. And the ways that and money is one of those ways that quickly promotes it. The idea that everything has to be for money is very silly. There are some things that should be for the creation of whatever we deem capital is, but most of why we should be making money is to if commerce exists, which it does not have to, right? We can as a collective say, hey, here's a collective project we need. Does anybody want to, who wants to help do this good thing? And then cover your basic needs at the same time. I think most people would still want to go give and help. I don't think people would stop making movies if it was just for money. I'll tell you what, I've seen enough comedians' movies that are not making a dime to know that people aren't doing it for money. They're doing it because they want to. And the creative joy and the joy of helping are similar. They come from the same part of the heart, the part that connects you to the rest of humanity. I think I was missing some of that with education, having left higher ed, and by left I mean justifiably fired for the consequences of my own actions. It was a job where we were super understaffed for a little, so I stopped giving a shit. And then when we were no longer understaffed, of course, it's like, oh, right, I was no longer necessary, and so my behavior was no longer tolerable. I'm sorry, the weather changed in Illinois. Whenever that happens, I get a little congested. The Mucinex man comes over and fills my holes. Plugs me up 6-7 ways to Sundays. Yeah, I know, he's a he, him lesbian. The Mucinex man is a he, him lesbian. That was the sound of me drinking Gatorade. Do we like that? Was that good? I needed a sip. Wow, couldn't go. Real Marco Rubio moment to take a sip of something in the middle of a very short 15-minute. I'm halfway through and I was like, it's sipping time. She thirsty. I gave my number to somebody yesterday. That felt fun and flirty. I do love a good line. I must say it feels really fun to do a line on somebody that maybe I clock a vibe. I don't know if I do. Honestly, to be perfectly honest, I cannot read anything unless I decide what everybody else is feeling, and I'm on Apology Fest 2026 on account of doing that for my whole life. I decided how other people felt, and so but it felt very flirty. I make no promises as to what it is. They might be straight, and so it might be one of those situations where it's like, oh, this is really flirty, but we're just girls, and it's like, shorties, like a melody. Anime stuff. I love anime. I watch a lot of anime. Free Rin. If anyone's watching Free Rin, I just want to say that elf is such autistic trauma representation. Her story is perfect. The realization of these beautiful moments of your life already happened, and you may have, and that she missed them because she wasn't living in them, and the having a joyous past, giving opportunities to lead into a more joyous present after a traumatizing past. Plus, Free Rin is just what if the strongest mage in the universe was just no, I like magic. Fighting isn't my favorite thing. I do love killing demons. I love killing demons. And hey, who doesn't love fighting our demons? Hey-oh, time to fight our demons. I am interested in what's going to happen. I have not read the manga. I don't know how to read. I never learned. I've been really good at context clues my whole life. So basically I could just pick up on what was being said by listening to the teacher and the other kids that I picked up on that were smart, and then reading a page and a half of a book, and then I'd be able to talk about it in school. Which is really bad for trying to read for joy as an adult, because all I learned was how to cheat. It's really good for scholarly reading though, because scholarly reading has a lot of fluff, has a lot of fluff. It has a lot of like it tells you something. It will tell you scholarly reading will always tell you something in a simple language and then complicate it. The complication is necessary, but the complication is more for like the understanding of an academic. The simple understanding is typically the way to go. I think like the smarter somebody is, the more simple they can make something complex. I've been thinking a lot about intelligence and whether like what is the metric of intelligence? It's probably curiosity. I think curiosity and kindness are probably the two biggest metrics of intelligence. Because kind people tend to be smart about the world, and smart people, smart people aren't always kind. And so I think that's the difference between like someone who is maybe like someone who's maybe smart and someone who's intelligent. Because intelligence is also emotional, where I feel like when people are like, well, you're being too logical, and it's like, well, your logic lacks emotion, or your emotion lacks logic. None of these things are separate, like, right? Like every part of our feeling is tugging on another part of our feeling that's tugging on another part of feeling, and it's tugging up on it, baby. Tug up on it if you're feeling it. We're tugging up on it because we're feeling it. Tug up on it if you're feeling it, tugging up on it cause you're feeling it. We're tugging up on it cause we're feeling it. Tug, 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 up on it. Tug, 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 tug. Okay, now sorry. I don't know what came over me. I was tugging up on it. And nothing was happening because it doesn't, when you tug on it, it doesn't make a sound. It's like one of those, toys that you pull and then it like, the string pull comes in and then the toy says something. You tug up on it, it makes no noise. Tug up on it, it makes no sound, quiet as a mouse with a lot of cheese. Would a mouse with a lot of cheese be quiet or loud? Would they celebrate the juba cheese of having that much substance? Do you think they would fall silent in the revel of their spoils? Where is divinity found, I guess? Is it found in the joy and screams of enjoyment, or is it found in the silence of reflection? Maybe it's both. Probably it's both. Like all things, it's both. The divinity of one's soul. I've been thinking a lot about apologies because I have not been kind to a lot of people in ways that I don't know. I don't feel like I lived to the values I wish to expunge to myself, and that's really all I can do. But I've been thinking a lot about like what we apologize for, because as a child I learned like an apology was something you could do to get what you wanted. Like when someone was mad, like when my mom was mad at me, I would just like apologize, whether or not I felt it. And then for a while I thought apologies were just like something you did for yourself, and that felt really like callous, right? To like, I guess like free myself from, beating myself up by apologizing, by trying to absolve myself of my own actions. And then I realized, of course, that was not true. So I don't know why we apologize. I don't know why I apologize. I'm thinking, I don't know if it's like, I don't think I apologize to seek forgiveness. I think that puts too much responsibility on somebody else to undo the consequences of my actions. And I think that's really not the like, the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Accountable way of being. And accountability is something that's really important to me. I like to be accountable to myself and hold myself to a standard. I think I see apologies more as like a public prayer to try to be different, or like an acknowledgement that like what I did was bad. And I know that it was bad, and you've heard me say that it was bad, and so if I do it again, then what does that make me? Or not bad or malign. I'm trying not to do so much value judgment. I would say more like it doesn't align with the way I wish to be, which is to say, I want to be turned into like a thin sheet of paper. I want to fall through the cracks of every establishment, as opposed to just a couple of them. As a white transgender woman, only a few miss me with that. Falling through the cracks. No, I fall through the cracks all. I love falling into the cracks. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. Thank you so much for listening. Please, if you believe democracy works, vote. If you don't, there's a good chance to vote anyway. But do you? Love you.